Hi, how are you? My name is Donna, and welcome to episode 1 of ADHD-Netics. It is an ADHD podcast of my ADHD journey. And the reason I really wanted to do a podcast regarding my ADHD journey is so that other women, men, anybody, your kids, your wife, are able to potentially recognize maybe the same behaviors, habits, effects of ADHD and to get tested. We have resources that can help us. I feel as though women in particular, a lot of them don't know that they're diagnosed with ADHD. And some of these symptoms are very close together as far as experiencing like laziness and unmotivated. I'm not too sure how the episodes are going to go. And I'm also not too sure how frequent this is coming out. But I definitely wanted to give you guys at least episode 1 as far as my journey, how I got here, how ADHD really affects my life in so many different ways. Sorry if I'm rambling on. It's my ADHD. It's my other. Let's get started with my ADHD journey and how I got to here, this point. So why I tested for ADHD. I have my ex-coworker that I used to work with, Jeanette, that's my bitch. So she has ADHD. She would talk to me about certain symptoms that she would have. And this was last year in 2020. At the ending of 2020, she would give me some of her extra prescriptions. And I noticed that it would help me a lot when I would use them. It kind of stayed like that. I want to say, actually, it was probably towards the ending of 2019 when all that started happening, where she would give me some of her extra doses. 2020 came around where I previously worked. We were working from home. It was kind of lonely for me because I love people interaction. I love talking to people. That is one of the things that I don't know. I just love it. I love asking questions. I love knowing about people's lives. I love listening to them and just having them tell me things about themselves. It's the best. It's the best. So during that time, I was working from home. I wasn't really seeing anybody. It would be terrible. There would be times where I would not want to go to sleep because I was thinking such morbid thoughts. I would think about death. I would think about dying and not being here on earth anymore and how terrifying it was for me. Sometimes I wouldn't even do my work. I would just lay down and do nothing, just watch TV, hang out with my dog, Zoe. It was a very difficult time just because like I said, I would have these morbid thoughts at night leading to me not going to sleep. And because I didn't go to sleep, I would literally probably go to sleep at like 5 a.m. just to wake up at 8 to be at my computer. And I wouldn't get enough sleep. And it was just a reoccurring cycle. The reason why I ended up getting tested for ADHD was because of Laura Clary. And I don't know if you guys know her. She's this famous Facebook, I guess, person. I don't even know where else she's famous in, but I know that her videos pop up from time to time on my timeline on Facebook. One of the episodes that she uploaded last year, probably around maybe August of 2020, she uploaded a video of her going to get tested for ADD. And she was explaining her symptoms. Her symptoms really resonated with mine. She was saying how she was having morbid thoughts, how she really didn't understand what people are saying when they were talking to her, how she was always late to everything, how she forgot everything. She would forget everything. And I was like, fuck, that's me. I have a lot of those symptoms as well. After that video, they, of course, did diagnose her with ADD. And she was like, I had no idea. I just thought these symptoms were very normal. I thought everybody had them. I didn't think it was something like a mental illness that I had. I Googled the ADHD symptoms in women, and a lot of those symptoms I definitely have. It was very eye-opening to me because I also thought, well, this is normal. This is just something that happens to women all the time. They're always tired. They're very forgetful. We forget everything. It's difficult to understand people. And I realized that no, this is not normal. It's definitely something is wrong. Another thing that kind of really pushed me to ended up getting tested for ADHD was I am currently going through my master's, yay, in organizational development and leadership. I was reading over the syllabus for one of the classes that I was taking around the same time, and I just could not understand the verbiage on that syllabus. It was foreign to me. It was just like, what the fuck is she saying? My husband at the time, I asked him, hey, can you explain this to me? Because I have no idea what she's saying. He read the part of the syllabus that I was having trouble with, and he was like, oh yeah, it's da-da-da-da, that's what she's saying. And I was like, what? How did you understand that so perfectly? And I had such a hard time trying to understand. What the fuck? And so I was like, I need to get tested. I ended up getting tested at the South Texas Behavioral Center. It's down on Vance Jackson and Hebner, and they do ADHD testing in adults. And I know that's something that is not available in all behavioral centers. So if you're looking to get tested for ADHD, definitely check them out. I will advise that they are expensive. I think I paid almost $250 just to get tested because, yeah, it was expensive. I made the appointment September of 2020. I did it. I was excited. I knew I definitely had it. I just don't know how bad it was. Yeah, so the symptoms and effects that I was experiencing, and even till this day, if I don't have my medication, I do experience it. Definitely mood swings. I could go from being super happy 1 minute to being like, leave me the fuck alone for another minute. I tend to be very forgetful, so we can have a conversation and you could be like, oh, hey, this new burger place opened up down on Presa Street. And I'll be like, okay, cool. And then we'll pass by Presa Street and I'll be like, hey, look, there's a new burger joint. And you're like, bitch, I done told you. And I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. I don't remember. That would be arguments between me and my husband at the time when we were living together. It would be just arguments because he would think that I wouldn't listen because I didn't want to. Of course, he didn't know. We both didn't know that I had a mental illness. So it made things even harder because you would have conversations and then I would bring up whatever we talked about in that conversation and it'd be like, oh, look, I already fucking told you. I told you earlier. You didn't listen. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I don't remember us talking about it. And I understood where he was coming from because he felt like he wasn't being listened to. And that made me feel like shit because yeah, I was listening, but I forgot 10 minutes later. I'm late to everything. Time is just not a thing for me. It's non-existent. I am late to literally every single thing. It is ridiculous. I mean, you could tell me you need to be there at 7 and I will still walk up that bitch at 7:30 and be like, sorry, lost track of time. It would definitely cause arguments as well in my marriage. Looking back at it, it was kind of funny, but at the same time, it was like, oh shit. I struggled a lot in math when I was in school. I think the fact that math is not something that you can routinely do, if that even makes sense. History, you just remember dates and situations that happened. So that's pretty easy to remember. But math? No. In school, I would learn a math problem a certain way. There was just one slight difference in another math problem and I had to insert another step. I wouldn't know how to figure it out. I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know how to do this. I don't. That's why I would always be like, I'm just mentally not capable to do math. I'm just so fucking stupid. And it stuck with me this whole time. I would say other symptoms or experiences that I've had is I don't have not good experiences. I cannot keep good relationships with people. I don't know if maybe that's the reason I don't really have, I guess, friends. I have acquaintances, right? Like I know people, but I'm not really close with a lot of people, if that makes sense. One thing that I know that I do, it may not be really ADHD related, but it might be a cause. And I think it's just of past trauma that has happened in my life. I tend to push people away. It's so easy for me to push people away when I feel like the vibe is off or they're not bringing the same energy as me. That causes so many issues just because people might see me as a bitch, someone that doesn't care or someone that just doesn't give a fuck. I give a lot of fucks. Maybe too much, I love too hard and I want to help everybody and I want to love everybody because I don't want to get hurt. It's easier for me to separate myself from that relationship instead of getting hurt. That's definitely an issue that I definitely want to work on. It's more of like friendships. If I'm being really real and honest, my relationships have not worked out. I want to say it's because of me. Relationships, what I have experienced is that I get bored very easily. If there's no spice to keep the relationship going, I get bored. And once I get bored, I start to look. It's the end from there. And I haven't really told anybody this, but I think one thing about why my relationships don't work is that I tend to try to find attention wherever there is attention towards me. I'm like, yeah, I'm there. I don't know if it had to do with, of course, my dad not being in the picture and because of the attention I didn't really get at home, that, if anybody gives me attention, I'm over there being a little fucking puppy, like, oh yeah, pet me, you know what I mean? Pet me and love me because I want to be loved and I want to be loved. I think that's why I had my last depression episode, was because I put so much energy and time into people and I feel like I never receive it back. And it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart because that's all I've wanted ever since I was a little girl. And not in the wrong ways. I just wanted to be loved the same way that I love. Because, like I said, I love hard and I love too much. I've never received that. I really want it. Definitely ADHD enhances all your fucking emotions to like a degree. But let's talk about my diagnosis. So I went through the ADHD test with my psychiatrist. On top of that, we talked about, my childhood, me growing up and my past traumas and everything. Like this session, I don't know how long it was supposed to be, but the session lasted about maybe a good 3 hours. It was just of us talking. It was of us talking about everything that I was feeling, everything that I had gone through after the ADHD test, and of course, me talking about, my traumas and stuff. He diagnosed me with moderate ADHD and depression, which I already knew. I had depression. It's something that I know that I've dealt with my whole life ever since I can remember. I've dealt with that all my life and it is such a struggle. Yeah, so it's moderate ADHD and depression. So this definitely was a good turn in my mental health because finally it seemed like there was a solution to the problem. And now, what's next? The psychiatrist started me off at 20 milligrams of Adderall. Mind you, my ex-coworker was giving me 60 milligrams of, it was an Adderall, it was Vyvanse. So I already knew that 20 milligrams wasn't going to do jack shit. But I didn't want to tell them that because, they're going to be sus about it. They're going to be like, really, bitch? Like, what the fuck? So I started off with 20 grams a la verga. 20 milligrams of Adderall for a month. That didn't do shit. So I told the psychiatrist it didn't do anything. He bumped my Adderall to 40 milligrams. And I also told him that it didn't do shit the next month. And then he upped my Adderall dosage to 60 milligrams every day. I have seen such a change, not only productivity wise, but, my habits, behaviors, and my relationships as well. It's a constant battle for me because I get so irritated at myself because I can't literally function without my Adderall. I can't do basic human things without my Adderall. And I get so irritated with myself because I have to rely on these pills for me to function in this fucking society. I'm like, why the fuck can I just be normal? Why can't I just be normal? I just want to be normal. I want to do all these things without having to take my medication every morning and have to rely on it. Obviously, there's a reason I fucking have this shit, right? So there's no point in being irritated or wishing for something else because this is just the way it is. It is what it is. Now that I know I have ADHD and I'm looking more of what the symptoms are, I'm becoming more aware of my behaviors and my habits. By becoming more aware of my behavior and my habits, I'm starting to build stronger relationships with people. I'm starting to be more aware of how I can take on different tasks and be successful because I have task A, B, C, and D that I haven't finished, have been halfway, or haven't even started. And I'm over here thinking about task E, F, G because I want to start on that. And I need to start it now. But I'll finish this later. You know, I'll get to it when I get to it. But I want to do this. It's just like, no, bitch. That's not how it works. I feel like I rambled on enough. I became pretty emotional there. So sorry. It's my ADHD. How my medication is helping me is that I feel more alert. I feel like when I talk to people or when people are talking to me, I'm able to understand and comprehend what they're saying, not just look at them and be like, what are they talking about? Because I don't understand. I feel as though I'm able to take on tasks and complete them and not just leave them halfway. I'm able to have my creative side come out, definitely with the page and with other projects at work as well. I'm able to put in my ideas and it doesn't feel like it's a train wreck of like a million ideas in my head and I can't just pick one. I feel like my brain sometimes is like a toy machine. The fucking toy machines like at Denny's and shit where you like have the little claw and it's like picking up a thought, but then it loses it and it's down there with all the other thoughts and you're just like, oh my god, I don't fucking know. Or like the fucking dumpster fire of that SpongeBob episode where they're all running around and they're all burning files and shit and it's just like, fuck. That's how my brain works when it's not on Adderall. Sometimes I think about my struggles and what I go through with ADHD that it makes me scared that, you know, the people around me won't understand and they won't have the patience with me because, yeah, there's only so much awareness that I can have with my ADHD and there's only so much that I can do to change. It'd be nice to have that support for them to let me know that they understand and to be supportive and patient with me because I'm a psychopath, okay? I'm a lot sometimes. And I know that I'm a lot. It takes the right person to make sure, I guess, that I'm okay because I need a lot of support. Sorry, I got super emotional. I didn't think this was going to happen, but obviously it did. So here we are. Thank you guys so much for listening in to ADHD-Netics episode 1. This was very real and very raw for me. I don't open up to anybody about anything as far as my struggles, my life, what I've been through. Don't judge me. Be nice. Definitely stay tuned for episode 2 of ADHD-Netics today. I don't even know if I fucking said that right. ADHD-Netics. I love you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will definitely talk to you guys later. Bye.